Greetings, conservatives. This is your humble host, John Moraga, and we are back with more ConservaCast. We look forward to keeping you informed with the latest and most relevant commentary of conservative issues. So without further ado, here are a few topics I'd like to discuss. Happy 4th of July, folks. Today we celebrate our independence from England. However, the older our nation gets, the more we seem to be returning to the centralized, tyrannical system of government that catalyzed our revolution in the first place. Each younger generation seems to know less and less about our history, forget knowing about the actual reasons which catalyzed our demand for independence in the first place. Moving on to the Supreme Court vacancy. I'm confident that most of you are already aware that Justice Kennedy has announced his retirement from the Supreme Court. Although he was appointed by President Ronald Reagan, he has proven himself to be a justice who has sided with other liberal judges on more than one occasion. In fact, he swung to support the left in the decision of Planned Parenthood v. Casey in 1992, which reaffirmed the ruling of Roe v. Wade, as well as being the one swing vote in Obergefell v. Hodges in 2015, which requires all states to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples and have those licenses recognized throughout the country. Obviously, he's ruled in many other cases, but those two landmark cases proved he was an unreliable justice to uphold conservative principles. Now, President Trump is likely to appoint a conservative justice to replace Kennedy, but even that cannot guarantee how future cases will be determined. For example, John Roberts was appointed by George W. Bush and was also considered to be a conservative judge, but he was the deciding vote in a 5-4 decision to uphold the legality of Obamacare in 2012. It should also be noted that President Trump may have to appoint another Supreme Court justice before his term is up, as Ruth Bader Ginsburg's age may play a factor in the next few years. Finally, I'd like to address Trump and conservatism. Trump has moved further into conservatism, but not by choice. Full disclosure, I was personally an ardent opponent of Trump during his presidential candidacy, especially during the primary. During the general election, I was at a loss of exactly how to feel or react. Like millions of others throughout the country, I felt like I was on the set of some bizarre movie like The Truman Show. Conspiracy theories seemed less theoretical. In fact, I think even Trump himself was surprised that he actually won. I recall seeing news footage of him immediately after he found out he won, and it looked like he was shocked. Now, he is far from being the standard bearer of conservatism. However, he has been forced to accommodate the demands of his conservative supporters. Let me explain. Trump has historically been a Hollywood liberal, but he supposedly had a change of heart and became a, quote, Republican, end quote. Not exactly a conservative, but a Republican. At least a name only. This political conversion apparently happened in the 1990s. By the time he began his presidential run, he moved even more to the right, but to his credit, he never actually claimed the conservative mantle. So, his documented rhetorical past caused a lot of pause to genuine conservatives who believe he was simply giving lip service, just to get nominated and ultimately elected. In fact, early in his presidency, he even extended a hand to the liberal giants, Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, in an effort to support his economic plan. Unsurprisingly, conservatives were enraged at this prospect. Fortunately, they rebuffed his offer. This was probably one of the few times Trump's hurt ego has benefited conservatism. I believe this was the point that Trump started to give conservatives more of his ear. In addition to being hated by the liberal media, he found few friends on the right. Once Schumer and Pelosi snubbed him, Trump sought out allies among conservatives. The appointment of Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court was one thing, but the first real sign of Trump's olive branch to conservatives was when he expedited the move of the U.S. Embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. Now, it must be qualified that this is more of a symbolic gesture, but I believe this was the first real concession that Trump gave to conservatives who support a biblical worldview. Some never-Trumpers will criticize this as smoke and mirrors, but it's a fact that Trump has done more on this issue than any of his predecessors. Because of this, he began to acquire a bit of conservative bona fides. As a result of this positive response from conservatives, I believe Trump has been responding in kind. For example, He is choosing from a short list of conservative justices to replace Kennedy on the Supreme Court, and he's made some credible moves to reduce the size of government by eliminating many federal positions. Also, even before the U.S. Embassy moved to Jerusalem, Trump tested the conservative waters when he got rid of the individual mandate of Obamacare. That's something that isn't widely reported, and it's actually only a small step, but it's worth mentioning. So I'll wrap it up with this. I'm still trepidatious about what Trump will do and the kind of future political moves he will make. But it's pretty clear. Trump has discovered more allies among conservatives, and that cooperation comes with a price. That price is obligating him to be more supportive of a conservative agenda, or at the very least, forcing him to take one more seriously. Thanks for joining us once again, and we hope you will invite your friends and family to join us in our efforts to champion conservatism for generations to come.
But it wouldn't be nothing. Not a woman or